Hello besties, this week we are doing the Swirl of July wood grain with glitter swirl tumbler tutorial. But before that, let me welcome you guys to our YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to all our social media handles so you have all the news on Misfit Makers, and click that subscribe button for our YouTube channel. We also have a website and a Patreon that you are welcome to check it out. Okay, we're gonna start with a little slim can coolzy from the Tipsy Magnolia, and I've already spray painted white, and I have my alcohol ink here and my old rusty trusty paintbrush that I've used on all my wood grain since I started back in 1942. But anyway, you want to get like the scratchiest, oldest, crunchiest brush because it gives like the best texture for wood, as you see here. So what I like to do is, obviously I said I spray painted my cup with a matte spray paint finish. Then once that was dry, I went around with my alcohol inks in one color. You can do several colors, you can alternate different shades of brown, but I wanted to keep it simple for this tutorial, so I just use one color. I'm using Havana Brown from Pinata, but Tim Holtz has a lot of good colors, Brea Reese, Marabou Ink, so whichever one you decide to use, just pick a good brown. But today I'm just using one color. So I'm doing one swipe around, it doesn't have to be perfect, and then after that I'm going to go directly with my second time around. The great thing about inks is that you can layer as many times as you want. You can add a little bit of alcohol if it got too dark. You can add different shades of brown just to create that perfect brown wood grain look. Also, if you notice, I do not pick up my brush at all. I do not do little strokes. I go full strokes from top to bottom. Don't forget your booties too. That one, it doesn't matter how you go at it, just get it covered. So here it is. Once it's dry to the touch, you can epoxy it. So I gave it one coat of FastSet epoxy from CCDIY, and then I'm gonna sand it really good before we go in with our next step. But keep in mind, there's only one coat of epoxy here, so you don't want to sand too much. Okay, after it's sanded and cleaned, I'm going with my UV resin from the Glitter Guy and just using a tiny bit, like a nickel size, maybe quarter size amount, and I'm going to spread it out thin. We're going to use this as an adhesive to our glitter. So after you are done applying this thin coat of UV, then you're ready for your glitter. Remember, not too much. You don't want it dripping off your cup. You just want just enough. Okay, so I picked out 6 glitters, a chunky and a fine for the red, silver, and blue. All the glitters are from the Glitter Guy. You can find them in the supply list in our mentorship group, or if you are watching this on YouTube, it will be in the description, including our discount codes and any information as to where to find all the products that I'm using. Okay, so I am applying them in a diagonal kind of swirl kind of motion, starting off with my red chunky, moving on to my silver chunky, then my blue chunky. I always apply my chunkies first, and then fill up any of the negative or empty spaces with the fine glitters. I'm using a baby spoon because I am super heavy-handed and I want to make sure that I have a lot of control over how much glitter I am putting on top of this. As you notice, all the glitter colors that I chose are metallic or holographic metallic because I want them to show up really good over that wood grain. Also, make sure that you are using a little bit at a time so it doesn't spread out where you don't want it. Here I am adding the fine glitters now to fill in any of those empty gaps that you see in the tumbler where you see wood grain. So I'm taking a little bit at a time. It is okay if it ombres a little bit into your other colors or into your wood. I want to give it kind of like a firecracker explosion kind of effect. So a little bit is okay, but don't let it get away from you. We do want to leave some wood grain exposed. So I'm going to continue filling up any of those empty spaces with my fine glitters. Here I'm using the blue to fill up any of those gaps and just kind of work my way until I see what I like. Everything's filled out, looking good. After this, I am gonna be curing it with my UV lamp. Remember guys, we use UV, so we have all the time to create the perfect look that we want. We're gonna cure that, and after the UV is cured, then we are going to epoxy it one good time using CCDIY's fast setting epoxy, and then we'll be ready for the next steps. So enjoy me just kind of filling up any of the little empty spaces, adding some more here and there, just to get that perfect look. So while my cup is on the turner curing, I am gonna go ahead and weed my decal. This one says American Babe. I created it myself, but you can find a lot of similar ones on Etsy. It's just words in some cute little font, and then I did an offset on the Cricut to create a nice little silver offset. I'm using all metallic vinyl from Vinyl Fun for everyone except for the silver. The silver is the Cricut, I can't think what's it called, the Cricut textured vinyl. It's some of my favorites. I love textured vinyl because you can see, it just gives it some more dimension, if you know what I mean. So I'm gonna be using some of the outside stars and the inside stars, but not all of them. So then I'm going to layer my vinyl here. I tried to tape it to my silicone mat, but tape does not stick to silicone mat. Look, I'm on the struggle bus, but we're gonna make it work. So first I'm gonna layer the Babe word, and then I'm gonna layer the American part, and then the decal will be ready to transfer. I cannot stand awkward silences, so I am going to talk through this part. I am just applying my American decal, and fun fact, if you didn't know, vinyl has an expiration date. I want to say it's like 4-5 years, and then it gets hard to take off. Look how hard I struggled with it. If you struggle with your vinyl coming off the backing, it's probably just old, but it still works. You just have to work at it a little bit harder. But anyway, here we have our vinyl already on there. I sanded my cup really good after it was epoxied, and now I'm gonna wipe it down with a damp paper towel. I know she looks crusty and dusty, but once we apply that that epoxy, it is going to shine right back up. But let's get it cleaned up really good. Now we're ready to apply our vinyl decal. So I'm gonna start off with the biggest decal and center it on the wood grain part. Oh my gosh, I'm on the struggle bus. I am serious. Anyway, let's get it on there. Look at how pretty that offset looks. I just feel like it gives it an extra pizzazz, a little bit extra more. Then we're gonna apply our stars. No rhyme or reason on how I apply these. Just look at your design and apply them as needed. You can use transfer tape, but I just peeled them off and put them on there. I use the outside lines of the stars and also the inside. I cut them in different sizes, as big as 2 inches and as small as a little under an inch. So I'm just gonna go around and placing them as I see fit around my tumbler. As you see, I'm feeling for bumps. I'm making sure that I'm not putting my vinyl over bumps, just in case. I don't want them to peel up or anything, but it will all smooth out after that coat of epoxy. So after I have my stars exactly where I want them, we're gonna epoxy this using FastSet and then giving it one final coat of artist resin. So here it is, ready to be epoxied. I added a little bit of additive to it. I'm using ultra white mica additive, just a tiny bit. It's just gonna give it an extra sparkle to the wood grain and to my vinyl. I don't know if you can see it, but it's super sparkly and it's beautiful. Look how pretty it looks. After you're finished applying your epoxy, you want to go ahead and hit it with the torch. Remember, do not stop in one place. Move fast. This is in real time. You do not want to burn your epoxy or your cup. And here she is, Miss American Beauty. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it inspired you to make your own. And check out that glitter additive. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful, so sparkly. I hope you liked today's tutorial. Thank you so much to all our Patreon members. Thank you for your continued support. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and all our social medias for any updates on new content. And we'll see you guys next week.